With the help of its Starship rocket, SpaceX is almost ready to start building a permanent human settlement on Mars. At the Mars Society convention, Elon Musk said that SpaceX is on track to send the first uncrewed mission to Mars in less than 4 years. Musk told Robert Zubrin, who started the Mars Society, "I think we have a good chance of making the second Mars transfer window." So, what is Musk going to do? Do you think people will land on Mars and start living there? Let's find out. However, before we begin our video, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and also press the bell icon. Let's get started. Every 2 years, there are about 26 months when the Earth and Mars are only 38.6 million miles apart, and they will get the closest to each other in December. Elon Musk is paying close attention to what is happening. In a recent speech, he talked about how he and the company he works for, SpaceX, wants to go to Mars one day. The Starship mission will likely make a trip around the Earth by March at the latest. But if Musk's plan is worked out in the long run, he needs to make sure that the Raptor 2 engine on the rocket gives Starship enough thrust to leave Earth's orbit and eventually get to Mars. Musk said, "It's an amazing feat of engineering, but it's very hard to make and work. This engine has been so hard to build that it's mind-boggling. But it's important for Starship to work." He even made fun of the Raptor 1 by saying that it had 180 tons of thrust and looked like Christmas tree spaghetti. Well, the Raptor 2 is an improved version that has 230 tons of thrust. By the end of this year, the goal is to have 250 tons of thrust. Its new engine burns fuel at a higher temperature and can hold a lot more pressure than its old one. In rocket engines, chamber pressure refers to how much fuel and oxidizer can be mixed and set on fire, which creates thrust. Increasing the chamber pressure does make the rocket stronger, but it also puts the engine at risk of melting. Musk said that it has a gigawatt's worth of heat. A gigawatt is the amount of power that a nuclear power plant makes, so it really is trying to melt at any moment. But Musk is worried about the new engine's problems. He told the press, "Right now, I'm spending the most time on Raptor 2 of any technical problem." He thinks that the engine is one of his two biggest problems. The other is his job as CEO of Tesla.com, where he has to fix the bugs in the company's full self-driving software. But SpaceX is working to keep the engine from melting by making heat shields that can absorb the energy the rocket gives off. But so far, Musk hasn't had any problems with the Raptor 2. Last year, a website called Space Explored and CNBC said that Musk told staff that SpaceX could go bankrupt if it didn't fix its production problems. But now, he is the richest man in the world, so these problems shouldn't happen. He told his workers that they should work with him over the long holiday weekend after Thanksgiving. Musk wrote, "We need all hands on deck to recover from what is, quite frankly, a disaster." In an internal email that was reported in the news, Musk said that the problems with the engine are very close to being solved, but he is known for being too optimistic. Musk said in a December tweet that SpaceX would only make the Raptor 2 model from then on. After that, he said SpaceX would make 5 or 6 Raptor 2 engines and then increase that to 7 or more in March. So it's clear to Musk that any future base on Mars that people will live in will need an engine as powerful as Raptor 2. He said, "The most important thing for Mars is to have a city that can take care of itself. If the ships from Earth stop coming for any reason, the city will die if it's missing any ingredients, no matter how small." But while Musk's talk was full of vivid details about humanity's future in space, he needed to clarify how the huge SpaceX rocket Starship, which is key to these and other goals, will work. And, as we've said before, the spacecraft can go into orbit, land astronauts on the moon, or start a colony on Mars, but it has to get past a lot of technical and legal problems. But on Thursday night, Musk said that he thought Starship could build a self-sufficient city on Mars. To do this, 1 million tons of stuff would have to be sent from Earth to Mars. This is the first time it has been possible in Earth's 4.5 billion year history. We need to seize the opportunity and do it as quickly as possible. Musk said, "I want to be honest. Civilization feels a little weak right now." And when he saw an animated video of a made-up Mars colony that SpaceX vehicles were taking care of, Musk yelled, "Let's make it real." SpaceX has been testing parts of the spacecraft that will go into orbit and then come back, showing how it might flip upside down in the atmosphere and then land. One of the flights went well in May 2021, but the others blew up. You need a bigger booster stage called a Super Heavy, with many engines to get into orbit. That still needs testing. Even so, Musk has often made schedule predictions that were too optimistic. When he talked about his Mars rocket in 2016, it was an even bigger design. And he said that the first test flight to Mars would take off in 2022, and that the first people would go to Mars 2 years after that. But right now, we are where we are. However, in his September 2019 update, Musk stated that the first orbital flight would occur within 6 months. Even though 2023 is already here, SpaceX has yet to try to send the Starship into orbit. During his talk on Thursday, he said he was sure the review would be done this year, but he wouldn't say more. Musk's talk in Boca Chica, Texas, near Brownsville, was full of crude jokes, but he also went over the vision he talked about before, like why people need to go beyond Earth as a backup plan for survival. In response to people who say that space exploration is a waste of time and money, he pointed out how little of the federal budget is spent on space exploration and space flight. So, when talking about space budget, Musk said, "I'm just saying that maybe 0.5% or something would be fine." Then he talked about improvements the company made to Starship's engines. In response to Musk's description of how hot the engines get, he said, "The only problem we know of is that the chamber might melt." Musk said, "It's hard enough to not melt the chamber. It's sort of the last challenge left, but I think that problem is almost solved." He hoped the Federal Aviation Administration will let SpaceX launch from Boca Chica. Musk said, "We've been given a rough idea that the approval might come in March." He said that if that happened, an attempt to send a rocket into orbit could happen in a couple of months. He did say that SpaceX would move launches to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida if the FAA wanted a more thorough environmental review. It would take 6 to 8 months to change the launch pad there. NASA's plan for the moon to send astronauts from orbit around the moon to the surface of the moon needs a Starship in addition to future trips to Mars. The company beat out Blue Origin, the rocket company started by Jeff Bezos of Amazon, and defense contractor Dynetics to get the $2.9 billion contract for the mission. The paper says that the moon landing is planned for 2025, but it'll likely be pushed back. To get astronauts back to the moon, NASA will also need to finish building the Space Launch System, a big rocket behind schedule. The moon mission would also need SpaceX to fill up a Starship's fuel tank while it is in Earth's orbit. Musk said that the Starship tankers would take fuel for the moon rockets to the moon every few hours. As Musk said, he didn't see any conflict between his work for NASA and his bigger dream. He said, "We're going to make a lot of ships and a lot of boosters. Adding legs to land on the moon is not a hard thing to do." Also, Musk never stopped being sure that his big rocket would work. Even though there would likely be some problems along the way, he was sure that we'll get it done. What do you think about Musk's plan to settle on Mars? Let us know your views in the comments section below. That's it for today. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching, and see you next time.